Okay, in this week's video, looking at Jim Herman's swing. Jim won yesterday at the Wyndham Championship. Just played really solid on Sunday. A lot of good shots, great putting. And looking at this swing, a little different swing. Kind of a journeyman player, 42 years old. This is his third win. And fun to see those players come sort of out of nowhere to win. It doesn't happen that often that someone hasn't played as well and then suddenly rises up and gets all the way to the top. But when it happens, it's fun to watch. Fun Sunday to watch anyway. A lot of guys in contention. Billy Horschel, Doc Redman, a bunch of other guys up there. But this driver swing, if we take a look at this swing, we can see as he gets this club going back, pretty upright stance and pretty armsy takeaway. Really looks like the arms just sort of picking the club up off the ground, and not a lot of rotation in the shoulders, not a lot of rotation in the hips. Just picking that club up with the arms. Up to this point, fairly unusual for this day and age. And then starts to get a little bit of turn, but mostly a lift, sort of a lift of the arms straight up. Gets it on the upper plane or the shoulder plane, represented by that blue line. We can see a nice flat left wrist. Maybe slightly bowed, but certainly flat. And now he's going to do a lot more work here on the downswing. So as we talked about in some of the power videos, really sitting down. You can see the height change as he drops, sitting into those legs, and then really staying in posture and rotating open into that shot. Driver slightly under the shaft plane, which is normal. That'll get it to swing up and through the ball on the correct plane through impact for a driver. But you can see that hip rotation and body rotation open. Great release, right up and through. So like I said, it doesn't really look like it's going to be a rotational swing when he picks it straight up. Looks like he might be more of an arms player, but then all that hard work coming down into those legs, down pressure, coming down this way into the legs. And then really rotating in posture, letting it release fully through. Right into a good finish. Okay, from this angle, we can really see the upright posture and a very upright backswing, lifting that club straight up out of the ground. Left arm right up on the upper plane or on the shoulder plane. But for those of you working on your plane, you will always recognize that players on tour, in the vast majority, more than 99%, are going to go up vertically and then drop that club back down behind them to create the speed. So there it goes up super high and then dropping it down super shallow, rotating open. A little bit unusual. I would call it I don't see any other swings on tour exactly like it, but it does have the signature of an upright plane dropping to shallow, and we know his left wrist flat or slightly bowed. You can barely see it there. So he has the face square already. He can just rotate through and nail it. It's going to be very accurate that way. Just has to keep rotating and he'll hit a nice straight ball most of the time with that action. This one here, take a look at an iron on an approach shot. Much the same signature. The arms pick that club straight up off the ground. Club right up on the upper plane. Sits down. And that sitting motion where you can see sort of the compression downward this way helps him to shallow the club, helps the club to drop back this direction and not get extra steep. For players that hit slices out there, most players that get that vertical at the top, they will get steeper coming down the mid to high handicappers, and that's going to create a slice. But for him, as he sits straight down, you never believe as shallow as that club is coming down there on that angle that it was as steep as it was at the top. Rotates open, stays totally down, even flat-footed on the irons, which helps him stay in posture. If he was driving off his feet, it'd be big trouble, so he stays down and through it. And then he comes up out much later through the shot. This angle here from this weekend at the Wyndham, you can see a little more with the closer position here. Nice tall posture. He doesn't have the classical golfer posture. He's a little more rounded, almost like Tommy Fleetwood here. Probably just part of his natural posture, less sort of straight back than some guys are. That may inhibit part of his rotation back, hard to say. But there's that picking up of the club on the takeaway, which I wouldn't recommend for most players. Most people are going to have better luck with their swing, getting some hip turn and getting some shoulder turn early in the backswing. Jim, as he picks his club straight up, you can see at the angle of that forearm, that's a very vertical action, probably almost as vertical as a Justin Thomas at that point. Similar style of a swing going up, but as he comes down, very different move. There's that sitting action, almost a squat as he comes down. Now he's looking incredibly athletic, and even his posture, you can see the body adapting to that sitting move. He's much straighter back here at this point than he looks here. So fairly unathletic at the beginning, and then really sitting and looking very athletic at this point. There's that bowed left wrist. We can barely see, a little blurry with the camera, but we know it faces square coming in. Down and rotating, hips really getting through there. Body opening up as well. Awesome release. Look at that back foot, just plastered to the ground, allowing him to stay down better. And that's either an adaptation he made as a kid, or he's coached into it to help himself stay lower to the ground through the hitting zone, get that club to exit more left and less straight down the line, keeps the ball in line easier and gets any sort of hooking action out of the shot. And this is an interesting video to watch, just watching him hit these shots, kind of playing this regular speed over and over again, balance a little bit off. You can see sort of fighting the swing a little bit there. Doesn't look like a classical tour player, very upright swing, two-plane action up and down, good timing, tempo. But wow, is it so much better through the hitting zone than it might look on a swing? When you look at it at this speed, rather, it may not look like that great of a golf swing until you start to put some lines in there. We can see how close he can match this thing up. Coming into impact, he's right back down on that shaft plane. So it's amazingly as good as lots of players on tour through the hitting zone. May not look it at full speed, but great for him, great week. Fun to watch the tournament and see him get it done on Sunday. And we'll see what happens with his game as he goes into the playoffs.